We rolling?
Yep.
Can I start it?
Yeah.
Okay. My sister recently, well, she's not vegan.
My sister recently got a new job, and she has been asked a bunch of questions from one of her coworkers. I'm vegan. She's like veganish, and so I told her that we would answer these questions rapid fire.
So we're gonna see how quickly we can answer them. I haven't really looked at them beforehand, so I don't really have long drawn out answers, so we're just gonna answer them off the top of our head. So, the first one. Eliminating red meat is healthier for females than males because of the plant-based estrogens.
So plant estrogens affecting males.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like I made you nervous with that question.
no, it's okay. It's kind of weird to be worried about an estrogen that isn't compatible with us versus an estrogen coming from an actual mammal's milk. Phytoestrogens is what they are, and they're not the same as mammalian estrogens, so
Basically, drinking breast milk from a cow is probably going to affect you more than drinking soy milk from a plant. That being said, if you're worried about it, you don't have to eat soy or drink soy.
almond milk,
Right.
all kinds of nut milks.
Right. Or you could just not drink milk. God forbid. The hardest part about being vegan.
I would say the social aspect
Right.
of veganism, whether it be going out in social situations with your friends or just having people ask you about it. It's an interesting thing to talk about it sometimes.
Right. I feel like I make other people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's really my
Don't want to
biggest issue.
impose on anybody else. You just
Right.
kind of want to do your thing and not have to be questioned about it or anything like that. As far as like making the food and stuff, I would say it's no different than any other way of eating.
I don't think I could ever take dairy out of my diet. I think I could be vegetarian but not vegan. That's what everyone says. I used to say the same thing. Two things. One, there's an alternative for any kind of dairy that you do really like. You could probably find a vegan alternative for it, including eggs. Ryan makes a lot of tofu scramble.
Yeah, tofu scramble.
There's also
they have egg replacer itself.
They have egg replacer. The other thing I was gonna say is that the egg and dairy industry are probably the least humane industries out of all of them, just because the animals are used their entire life. They end up turning into meat anyway. Plus, they're just not good for you.
I think people think it's hard to give up eggs and dairy because they're so used to them being ingrained in everything that they eat, but you didn't grow up craving eggs or milk.
You crave what you eat.
Cheese and dairy itself are physically addictive. They're literally addicting, so it's understandable why it seems hard to give up those two things. I promise there's plenty of people who've done it, and once you get over that initial hump of getting it out of your diet,
We aren't special.
It's
Like, we're
hard.
not
Yeah,
like
we're just normal people.
superhuman. If everyone becomes vegan, do we still have the production of animals for things like dog food, leather, and other materials? You don't need leather. We make synthetic versions of pretty much everything now. Dogs don't need meat in their food for them to be healthy, but it's not sustainable for us to be using animals for any of these things anyway. Also, I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. I don't know if I want to get into the whole like pets aren't technically vegan thing, so I'm not going to. Okay, that's another issue. So the next question, what is your go-to vegan meal?
Like some sort of grain, whether it be brown rice, quinoa, lentils, something like that, with beans and veggies and some avocado. When you put some avocado with that kind of mixture, it makes it super creamy, and whatever dressing or sauce you put on top, it's super filling and definitely super nutritious.
Smoothies, potatoes, oatmeal. Those are my three favorite things.
Easy.
What's your biggest source of protein?
For me is probably that mixture that I just talked about, the whole grains with the beans, veggies, and avocado. Usually ends up being somewhere like 40 to 50 grams. But apart from that, I also use a protein powder just for a little extra whenever I'm feeling it after the gym.
What protein powder do you use?
Viva Life.
What flavor?
Salted maca caramel.
As far as me, I don't really worry about protein. Fruits, vegetables, everything that you eat
Takes care of itself.
Has protein in it. All the animals that you eat, they get their protein from plants. You just got a middleman, and I don't really worry about it that much. How can I bulk if I'm not eating red meat? That's very specific that you're worried about red meat for bulking, but you just eat a lot.
Yeah, bulking, I mean, concept behind it is just to increase your calorie intake. Grains are a great way to up your calories without noticing that much additional food itself.
Maybe they think it's because protein is what bulks you up. That's just that's just wrong, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what your definition of bulk is, but to me, bulking is trying to put on muscle while minimizing fat gain, and eating more beans and whole grains, I think, are an easy way to do that.
What if people are allergic to nuts, such as almonds, and allergic to soy and gluten? Since most plant-based things are made out of that, what can I substitute for that? Okay, first of all, you don't need to eat nuts, soy, or gluten to be vegan. I actually don't eat very much of that stuff. I do eat those things, but that's not like a fundamental part of my diet. Like, I don't eat a ton of nuts, I don't eat a ton of soy, and I don't eat a ton of gluten. So you really don't have to eat any of those things to be vegan.
I think they're talking about meal replacements,
right?
Vegan replacements. So
Right, meat replacements.
Yeah, so meat replacements, most of them use soy and gluten, but there are so many niche products. Niche
Products.
Niche products. It also extends into veganism, and there are companies that make, gluten-free, nut-free, all that kind of stuff, and you can definitely find it. It's out there, but I would say the best way to get around that is just to eat whole plant-based foods.
Right, and you can make meat replicate meat dishes with whole foods.
Yeah.
I make a really good General Tso's cauliflower.
Or chicken patties.
Yeah, I make chickpea patties.
Yeah.
You can get around a lot of those things. So if you ever need some good recipes that are nut, soy, and gluten-free, just let me know.
Make sure it's still recording.
Favorite fast food, vegan foods. Ryan has
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Ryan has an entire video on him eating fast food, vegan.
Fast food.
He tried to eat 10,000 calories a day. Go see if he could do it.
Maybe I did. Maybe I did.
Maybe he did.
Go give it a watch.
But those are all his favorite vegan fast foods. I would say mine is probably Chipotle count.
Yeah,
I like
it's
Chipotle.
kind of fast food.
Whether it's an animal rights or health reason to start, how should you start?
I think
You go first.
I think it depends whatever kind of motivates you, whatever you connect with the most. Like for me, it was a health decision. I wanted to try and be the healthiest that I could be myself. And along the way of doing that, I kind of came more into the ethical side and the environmental side. If there's one of those three that kind of speaks to you the most, I would look into that one first. There's a ton of documentaries that you can watch.
Like educate yourself. Earthlings, Cowspiracy, What the Health. I'm pretty sure all three of those are on Netflix. Earthlings might not be. If it's not, it's on YouTube for free. But I will say you can do all the research in the world, but until you actually start taking steps in the direction of what you want, you're never going to get there. So don't be afraid to start just because you don't have all the answers yet. Just like jump right in. Is it safe to completely drop and change a regular diet to a vegan diet? Probably. Vegan locations or places you want to visit. LA?
I think LA, she's been to Portland, I haven't. But
LA, Portland.
the West Coast, I think, is a pretty good option they have a lot of veganism.
East Coast of Australia. I was there after high school and I wasn't vegan at that time, but I would love to go back because there are a lot of vegan options in Australia. Hawaii. Favorite vegan alcoholic beverage? Wine?
I don't know any alcohol that isn't, unless it's like a milk stout or...
Oh, he's a new vegan. There's a lot of alcohol that isn't vegan.
Really?
Yeah. There's a website called Barnivore. If you want to see if something's vegan or not, you can go to that website because a lot of beer and wine is like processed with animal byproducts.
Gotcha. I did not know that.
Vegan wine. I don't drink that much alcohol, so. Okay, do you miss anything about not being vegan? Not worrying.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest one. Just knowing that you can eat anything that's at a restaurant or anything like that. Not having to like do your research, but I think it's worth it. Yeah.
It's worth it, but it's also like not worrying. Like I just mean being aware. Like it's kind of like, ignorance is bliss. Once you like are aware of how often we exploit animals or like how often we're eating things that probably aren't great for us or probably aren't great for the environment and like how ingrained in like society it is, that's like the biggest thing for me. That's like the only thing I miss is being like completely oblivious to it all. And then once you know, you're like, oh damn. How do you describe, that doesn't make sense. How many calories do you eat a day? Enough.
I usually eat around 3,000 as of right now. I lost a good bit of weight after my wisdom teeth surgery, but before that I eat probably between like 4,000, 5,000 if I'm trying to put on weight.
I don't really track my calories, but I have before for a while last year, and it really varied. It was like 2,500 to like over 3,000 is like average, but I don't really know. I just
eat intuitively.
Yep. What's the number one concern and benefit about going vegan? Number one concern is what we just talked about.
I think that's fair.
And then, what's the biggest benefit?
I would say probably health benefits. A good example would be for me, my stomach always used to hurt when I had dairy and had meat. And ever since cutting that out, my stomach doesn't hurt at all.
You don't even realize how much your stomach hurts when you eat those things until your stomach doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I used to get stomach aches at least once a day, and I thought it was just normal. I thought it was part of having cystic fibrosis, but turns out it's not. And my stomach doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah. They say that going plant-based is like the nutritional equivalent to quitting smoking, so I would say that's number one. Most doctors have opinions on being vegan. How do you make sure you're getting all the vitamins you need? Eat fruits and vegetables. Weekly budget on a vegan diet? ? Per month? ? I don't know how much we spend on food per month, and it kind of changes per week depending on how much we need from the store.
It does.
Usually it's like 100 to 100.
It's like, yeah, so we usually spend like probably around $400 a month between the two of us.
Right.
And that's us splurging on what we want to get every time.
We pretty much get whatever we
Yeah,
want.
so we get like the fake replacement stuff or anything like that. But
Fancy raw almond butter
yeah,
for me.
but just so you know, that stuff is the most expensive if you are switching to a vegan diet and you're looking for replacement foods, basically. Those will be your most expensive, but apart from that, veganism in terms of, you know, your whole grains, your beans, your potatoes, your greens, vegetables,
frozen veggies, frozen fruit.
like that stuff is not expensive, and don't let anybody tell you that it is, because you really, 20-pound bag of potatoes is like $10
or
less, and that will last you a super long time. And we get a huge pail of rice every like 4 months, and it lasts us 4 months.
Yeah.
Because I just said that.
Yeah. I think that is all the questions.
All right.
That was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's still recording or I'm gonna cry.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So,
All right. Hello. Thanks for watching our rapid fire Q&A. If you have any other questions that you want to get in, let us know in the comments down below.
Thanks so much for watching.
See you next time.
My body's a fiber machine.
Yeah.